there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today I'm going to show you how you can make rubber stamps using Bake and Bend clay by Sculpey, or any sort of Bake and Bend flexi clay that you might have. So that's how I made this stamp here, and as you can see I have it on a mount so I can use it, and it's a little stained where I've been inking it, and it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm going to show you how to make these, since I did show that stamp in a video about a week ago, and I had a couple requests to make a video on this. So this is going to be quick. It's very easy. So basically what you need to do is get yourself some clay. This is 1 ounce of clay. It is one of the bars that came in this kit, one of the 1 ounce bars, or it would be half of the regular 2 ounce bars that you would buy in the store separately. I'm going to use half of this right now, I think. And what you want to do is condition your clay. I brought this upstairs to my warm area of the house and kind of let it warm up, and then I conditioned it up there because it was a lot easier than trying to condition my cool basement. So then what you want to do is you want to roll it, and you want to make sure you have an even thickness. So that's why I'm using a couple of these Fisker's plates here to add for spacing. You could use a couple of rulers. I decided I am going to use a little more clay because I want to make sure that it is making contact with the roller. And then I can spread them apart a little bit further. As long as my roller can touch on each side, I can spread it apart like that. And basically this is just using shims, just like you would if you were slab building with regular pottery. It's just the shimming technique. So I'm just going to roll it back and forth until I have uniform thickness. I can see I have a little air bubble in there, so I'm just going to roll that out. You don't want air bubbles. Alright, now I have a pretty uniform thickness. Now I need to press something into this clay to make my stamp. And actually I probably could even go a little bit thinner, but I'm going to see how thick it ends up when I put something in it to stamp. Now you can use texture sheets. These are just like acetate texture sheets from making clay. I've got basically the same thing from the dollar store. It came in a couple different patterns. Or you can use embossing folders. And somebody asked me, what side do I use? That is completely up to you. But we'll try it on both sides and then you can take a look. So here we are on the side that's got the Cuttlebug logo in there. And I actually probably want to remove one of these sheets because I don't think that pressed deep enough. I don't think this would give me that great of an impression. You can see that there's some texture there, but I don't think it's really enough. So I've actually removed one of my shim sheets. I'm going to try that again. Let's try it with the other side just so we can see the difference. And the shims are just to make sure that our stamp is going to be evenly spaced on both sides, because it's really important that it's even if you're trying to stamp. If you have high spots and low spots, your ink is going to skip. There, this is much better. Get a much better impression. Now I don't know if I'd want my stamp to be exactly like this because I've got a geometric design, but then I've got a rounded edge. What I'd want to do is take a cutting tool. This is how I keep all my clay tools. Nothing fancy, just in a box like this. And I would go in with a razor blade, and I would simply cut my design like that. And I'm just using one of those dollar store cutting mats. I really like those for working with clay. Or you can use like an old placemat. And cut it down to whatever shape you like. Now I even think this is a little too thick for a stamp. So let's just go ahead and roll it out on one of these mats and see how thin we get. This clay needs to be baked at 285 degrees for 1/4 inch of thickness. So this is going to bake really quickly at 1/8 of an inch. But don't worry if it gets a little, if it does get a little brown at the edges, you want to keep your eye on it. It's not going to affect the stamp. It's just going to affect the look of the stamp, but it's not going to affect how it stamps. So just keep that in mind when you're working. So with these molds here, I can either choose to use the side that's going to give me more of a positive image or a negative image. If I use the part that's kind of the design is pressed up, if I put that down, I'm going to end up with more of the background as my stamp. If I use it in reverse, I'll end up with more of the positive. I'll end up with less inked area, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to roll over this. I'm going to not use my shims because I can feel pretty well whether I've got this even Steven or not. Just rolling over evenly. And then peel off my plate and see how this gives me a beautiful design. I'm just going to lift up the whole mat so you can see it. Now I would actually let this kind of sit for a few minutes before I try to take it off because I want to make sure that it's stiffened up a little bit because it's not going to be, it's going to be still pretty pliable here where I've just been working it and it's really soft. So if I just leave it in my cool basement for a little bit, it will stiffen up enough that I can take it off the mat and then stick it in the toaster oven to cook. Now let's show you how we use these stamps. Very easy. I'm not even sure if I'm going to bake that one. I just wanted to get that video out there because I had a few people ask. And I'm just going to ink this up. Generally I don't stamp with a distress ink, but I had that ink pad handy, so I just grabbed it. It's just for a demonstration. It's kind of hard to see where I've inked because the stain is stamped. The stain is stamped? Can you tell? It's actually late at night. This stamp is stained. Oh my goodness gracious. I usually film my videos in the day. A little bit slightly more coherent during the day. Alright, I don't have any pad or cushion under me, just a couple sheets of paper. But you'll get the gist. And there, it just gives me a very light image. Let me get a proper stamping ink and show you that again. Okay, I got a proper stamping ink and I've got a proper stamping surface. This is just my Silpat baking mat with a sheet of fun foam underneath. This is what I always stamp on when I'm doing real stamping. This is my cruddy old workbench where I film videos where I usually get it, you know, the odd bits of glass go flying here and there. It's just not the best situation for stamping. It's more of the fire retardant area of the craft room. Alright, so let's stamp this. Let's ink this up with some proper ink and really show you how well this stamps. I can really see where this is because it's a dark black. It's showing up real good. It is a pigment ink. I do like stamping with dye ink. The distress ink is not my favorite to stamp with. I like it for other techniques. And this is just scrap paper. It's not the smoothest, but you'll see. There we go. We got a much better image here. This is an organic design, so I don't care that it skips a little bit. And if I wanted to get a better impression, if I wanted to have it completely solid, which I usually don't with this, I like to be able to go in and fill it around, I could put some cling cushion on this, and then I would get a much better image as well. But there you go. There you have it. Making stamps with Bake and Bend Clay by Sculpey. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.